my pocket.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Adequate. Our continuing mission until we are cancelled and replaced by something far superior. To review every episode of Star Trek and its movies. To seek out new guests and make them incredibly uncomfortable. To boldly go where most other Star Trek shows have gone before. Holy shit, praise be to the great koala in the sky. It is Friday. That could only mean one thing. It's another episode of Trekking Up North. I am your captain, Captain Goodwill, and joining me, as ever, is the delectable Geesian from the planet Honk, Science Officer Synoiz. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hello.
How are you?
Bloody hell. It's been a week. It's been a very, very busy week. And yeah, everything keeps falling apart in my life, which is a lot of fun, to be fair, but it's good to get better at rolling with the punches, I think.
Same. Same. Yes, it has been an interesting week on the U.S.S. Adequate. A lot of punching bags have been destroyed. However, we are here for your entertainment and your unhinged comedy. What was I going to say? I don't know. Why is this not scripted?
Was it something about jam? Was it something about how you should never, cover a pig's trotter with jam because it'll just excite it? Because I've done that.
Yes, so we are...
I just want to say, actually, before we begin, I'm really sorry for everyone who was expecting me to be streaming on Twitch on Sunday. Basically, a thing came up and I couldn't stream because I was at the Great North Run, which was very, very surreal, where basically my mate Charitza May, who's a drag queen, basically was like, hey, do you want to come with me to the Great North Run and cheer the runners on and stuff? So we were both there in drag, like 100 meters from the finish line.
Wow.
Basically yelling support or silly things at the runners as they went past, which was quite good. And yeah, it was a crazy day, but then the rains came. Then the heavens opened.
The heavens moistened everyone.
I have to say, though, Charitza's a trained professional, because I've never seen someone run that quickly for shelter, ever.
Really?
It was literally as soon, because we saw anyone who was around in the Northeast on Sunday, like the sky just went dark, like it was like an eclipse.
Insane.
Yeah, it just immediately, and we were like, what's this? And then like about a minute later, just bang. And then basically before it happened, Charitza was just like the rains are coming, run faster, to all these runners. But then nuts. It was just monsoon. Yeah. It was just crazy.
It was nuts because the heavens opened further up north. But where I lived, in sunny seaside town of Deadcar, it was fairly warm and it was nice until the Nerdy Up North podcast started at 7:30 and everything went dark, everything went black, power started to fluctuate. And
It'll do that.
And then literally all the water on the planet opened, just dumped on me. And it was crazy. And the podcast itself was suffering because there was I think there was like 40 or 50 lightning strikes at the same time. Like I turned the lights off and it was like a disco in the heavens. There was just so much. It was insane. It was like a tropical storm. Yeah. Absolutely insane. Global warming.
The fact that it came so quickly, like the day was just fine. Like literally at the Great North Run, they had it like the sun was out. It had like the red arrows were flying in the sky and stuff. It was just and you're like, oh, what a great day. And then suddenly monsoon. You're like, where did this come? And no one had prepared for it.
No,
like no one had brought like sort of. Because the day was so nice, nobody had thought to go. Blah, blah. We were lucky that we had like what's it called, a tent thing, a marquee. We were lucky they had a marquee, but then obviously when the rain started, we tried to fit as many people as possible under this marquee. So we're all like crammed up there, being like, okay. And the poor runners are still coming past, like absolutely soaked, but they're still doing it.
And then the Dominion came and destroyed your marquee.
Well, speaking of which, I love this episode of Lower Decks we're going to cover today is absolutely crazy because it has so many DS9 and TNG references, and it made me laugh. I like it. Yeah, it's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello to everyone in the chat. The lovely 52.5-foot tall Viking musician that is Adam Ashbridge, who now has a new Facebook page. So if you do follow Adam, he's got a swanky new page. So everyone should go and follow him. Search Adam Ashbridge Music on Facebook and you will find it. Adam, if
on the Facey Bees.
On the Facey Bees. For those that don't know, Adam does the covers of the theme tunes and does the original music scores for Nerdy Up North. He is our house band, and it is a house I would love to live in and climb in like a tree. Hello to Spectrum Sanctorum, or Captain's Quadrant, formerly known as Spectrum Sanctorum. Hello. Thank you for the badge, Joe. Thank you for the badge.
Look how wonderful it is.
Look at this uniform, guys. I'm gonna do a.
Can you feel the customs charge?
Oh yes. Look at this. Look at this.
Isn't it? What an amazing new outfit, man.
Also,
very
guys,
fancy.
I received a very special gift from none other than Dave Blass, production designer for Star Trek Picard. Uno momento. Entertain the crowd one moment, Synoiz.
What's Una got to do with it? Oh, well. Yes, no, I was actually going to intend the crowd by asking what Goodwill's been doing this week, but that's kind of fallen on its head. But what's this?
Crying and drinking. That's what I've been doing this week.
Blood. Drinking delicious blood.
I received this wonderful lithograph.
Holy fuck.
Of the U.S.S. Stargazer from season 2.
Signed?
Signed by Mr. Blass himself. All the way from Canada.
That is so nice. Oh, that's so nice of him.
Absolutely wonderful. So thank you very much, Dave, for that. It will be framed. However, Dead Car does not have 17 by 11 frames because we still think photographs are witchcraft. So
that's it. You stole my soul.
Yes, they still think the moving pictures is some sort of sorcery. But yeah, hello to Lee Daddy. Hello to Nerdy Up North, obviously. We've got Peaches, we've got Beth, we've got Christopher, we've got all the regulars in the chat.
Legend of Lan.
Legend of Lan.
We've got Ensign Bailey as well, who was saying that when the rain started, he was kicking I was kicking a ball with my daughter and convinced her I popped the sky with the ball. That's it. Get them used to lies early.
Yes. Also, Ensign Bailey, good news. Your T-shirt has arrived. It will be posted out when I am back from them United States, if I return. But all the T-shirts are good, so all the... I'm going to be ordering more. I just needed 3 before I left so I could get stuff organised and get stuff posted. But rest assured, Ensign Bailey, you have not been forgotten. Your stickers, look at these sexy stickers. Ooh, sexy Trekkin Up North stickers.
So spicy.
So spicy. So spicy. What's Spectrum Sancto? We are about to lose Boston tomorrow from the storm coming called Lee. Lee's got his own storm. Oh.
Well, I knew he was endowed, but I never had any idea.
Oh my God.
He's a sensation.
It's not just me, Mike Sweat. It's entire cities. Oh, I'll tell you. But yeah, is it the Trekking Up North t-shirt? Yes, it is, Lee. It is the super sexy... Oh, there it is. It is the super sexy Trekking Up North t-shirt. Excuse mine, it's creased because I haven't ironed. Well, look at that. Oh, this is not the XL one. This is our medium.
Yeah.
Oh, if anyone wants any more of these t-shirts, let me know or let Nerdy Up North know, and we can get them ordered.
How cool is that, though? Actual merch and stuff. It's crazy. You know what's crazy? The people actually want that shit.
You just wait until the Trekking Up North martini glasses become a thing. It's currently with R&D.
Well, what we should do is we should have a way of ordering them where it's like martini, liquid. I don't know. How would you order one at a replicator?
Hello, I would like to get shit-faced. Thank you. And it just replicates martini.
Martini, strong.
Yeah, martini,
yeah.
Goodwill. But yeah, so guys.
But how have you been this week though? We haven't done this. You asked me, but I never asked you.
I am now off work for a while, whilst I travel the United States of them Americas. So, guys, if you see me look down on my phone at around about 9 o'clock, it's because I'm checking into my flight just to make sure I get a seat, because they were like, oh, you want to choose your seat? That's £72, please. And I'm like, no. So
Isn't it terrifying that they do that, where they're
Yes.
like, oh, the flight is this much, and then it's like, oh, you want to have a seat, and I'm like, I didn't know you did standing, but fair cop,
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
Attach me to the wheel if you must, but I am not paying 72. When it's free when you check in, but they're like, oh, you want to do it 24 hours before check-in? That's £72. And you're like, come on.
Yeah.
Really? So, yes, I am on holiday. I'm officially on holiday as of today. This week has been a struggle mentally. However, it is Friday night, it's Trekkin Up North. I am with my favourite Geesian of all time. I have got a martini. I have also watched this week very short treks on YouTube, which is a new little mini-series that Paramount are doing, where they're only 3 to 4 minutes long, and they are dedicated to the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, the animated series, so they are in the same animation style.
Oh, wow.
So I've seen To Skin a Cat, which was quite funny, and then the latest one, which only came out 2 days ago, it's about holiday. I think it's about First Contact Day.
What is it though? Like, is it the same cast? Is it what cast?
It's voiced. It's based in the Strange New Worlds era, so TOS era, pre-TOS era, and it's voiced by the Strange New Worlds cast, so Ethan Peck,
oh really?
Bruce Horrock, Anson Mount, and the like there. So
I haven't seen any of these yet. That's amazing.
I mean, you could literally watch them both in 10 minutes and be done with it, and that's it. Other than that, a little aside from Star Trek, I watched this week's Ahsoka, and I'm like, it took you 5 weeks to get good. But when you have, you're like, yeah. But it shouldn't have took you 5 weeks, Ahsoka.
See, this is the thing. It's like, it's one of these ones where you just go, really? Like, I found that with a lot of the Marvel stuff where you're like, oh God, why isn't it getting good yet? And it does get good, but then you're just like, oh, but it's over now,
Yeah, I mean, it's took 5 episodes to get to this, and I mean, this was shown in selected theaters in the US, so that's when an episode is that good and it's shown in theaters, I think you're fine, because Star Trek Picard had that with the last 2 episodes. Vox and can never remember the last episode's name because Vox just encapsulates it for me. But we are here, Treks and Trekkers. Yes, I'm stealing that from Shuttlepod. Come after me, Mark. We are here to review episode 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks season 4, entitled "In the Cradle of Vexilon." Are you ready to venture into this unhinged episode, Synoiz?
I am. It's like, I will say though, I'm kind of struggling a bit with Strange New Worlds because I love it so much, and this season is really good. But
Lower Decks, you mean?
Lower Decks. But the weekly format it's annoying because I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to wait another week for a half-hour thing, Like, I think it's something where I'd much prefer to be binging it. I feel like I'd much prefer them to have just dumped the whole season at once, because it's just going, oh, this is really difficult because I kind of get into it, I really enjoy it, and I'm like, oh, it's over for another week. Oh,
yeah.
And I know that's how we grew up. That's how TV was, but it's just it feels weird now,
I'm a bit torn when it comes to obviously modern. Obviously, I've studied the industry, I've been in the industry, and I'm like, I'm 50-50, where there is some content where it needs to be binge-worthy, and there is some content where it needs that space to breathe, to be discussed, to be analysed, and then you move on. So for me, it was Star Trek Picard can go both ways. So season 3 could be, you could binge it in 10 hours because it is a 10-hour movie, or you could do it an episode, or like a separate episode, and then do that. It depends on the content. For me, I grew up with Star Trek being weekly, so I'm sort of like, I'm used to that. But also, there is just so much to watch and play these days that, like, A
Yeah,
little
I
game.
guess pacing helps.
Well, a little game came out. I don't know if you've heard it. It's not well known at the moment, but there's a little game released by this up and coming studio called Bethesda, and it's called Starfield, I believe.
Never going to be a hit.
Never going to be a hit, but it is just Star Trek with RPG bugs, because all the cast and crew of nearly all the Star Trek is in there. You've got Tim Russ, you've got Nana Visitor, and Armin Shimmerman's in there, and holy shit! Like
It's crazy.
I have thoroughly enjoyed playing this game, and like any opportunity I've had, which is very sparingly, I've sort of done that. I have played it. So at the moment, I'm like, yeah, I'm sort of glad Lower Decks isn't 10-episode dump, because like I can watch that for 24 minutes and go back to playing Starfield. So like,
Yeah, I think that's it. It's like the thing with Picard is because the episodes were an hour, it was a lot easier. Like, it's kind of like, cool, okay, now we can wait a week for that. But because these are like 22 minutes, it's like, oh, bollocks, it was just getting started, because you could happily do hour-long Lower Decks episodes. I don't know if they'd work as well, but it's just, yeah. But that's the thing. But this is yet another... This is another example of how Lower Decks does homage well. Like,
oh, I love the way he says homage.
Well, when we talk about like when we're talking about like other series where I was worried that Lower Decks was just gonna be like, here's lots of Trek references, and it's like, hey, you got that, didn't you? Oh, look, nostalgia. But it gets its stuff and it builds the narrative around these references, but where they're important to the narrative. Like in this one, we get a slew of random stuff from like DS9 and TNG.
I have an entire page of references for this.
Yeah. And it's just all of these things, and then it kind of uses them for the plot, and you're like going, this is it knows what it's doing. It's a very, very it's a fan thing. It's very much written by fans.
If Lower Decks was an alcoholic beverage, it would be the most perfect cocktail, because it takes all the ingredients and makes something wonderful. Nothing is overpowered. Nothing is like too much of this or too much of that. Everything is perfectly balanced, as it should be. So yeah, let's get into season 4, episode 3, In the Cradle of Vexilon. So we start out at stardate 58759.1, the year 2380 for anyone's...
With no title sequence.
No
There is
cold
no
open.
pre-title sequence. It's very strange, this. I was like, oh, is there something wrong? Like, did I skip it? Or...
Yeah, I thought that. There was no cold open, but obviously Paramount Plus don't muck up that often, despite cutting nearly every...
To be fair, though, it was probably that there wasn't actually
there was no need for
like a cliffhanger. There probably just wasn't a cliffhanger in how it works.
So the Cerritos is visiting the Federation world Corsonia, which is an artificial megastructure in a bespoke star system designed by an extinct species. And when I mean artificial megastructure, I mean it's a fucking halo. No two ways about it. It's a fucking halo. Where is the chief? That's the first thing I saw. I thought,
is it canon now?
Is it canon? Is the chief canon? Oh god, is that nonsensical series of games canon? Don't. Ugh. Yeah. Shots fired.
Just when you weren't expecting it. Microsoft.
Yes. What is this story? Oh. Yeah. So yeah, they are visiting Corsonia. The people enjoy a perfect climate thanks to the almighty computer that manages the megastructure called Vexilon. Now, Vexilon is an ancient computer. However, he is starting to malfunction, and the weather is starting to play up. It's very unpredictable. Rivers are flowing the wrong way. Things are starting to go a little bit haywire with this ancient computer. So the Cerritos is there to see what they can do. Okay, so Ransom.
I like that the way they refer to it is, because I got a bit like, is it another Voyager reference? Because they referred to Vexilon as the caretaker, and I was like, what? And obviously it's it's the same function, but it's not the caretaker from Voyager.
So
otherwise they'd be stuck in a fucking farm.
So Ransom and Freeman meet Vexilon, to find out what's going on, and he brews him a nice cup of scalding hot iced tea, which shows just how shit's going wrong. So Freeman, instead of beaming down some highly skilled engineers, goes, I could deal with this. I took archaic technology at the academy. I'll just have a look at this.
I love that. I love that no one's insulted by that. I was expecting at least someone to be insulted by them referring to their system as, like, archaic. Like Vexilon being like, cheeky bitch, but no.
I mean, it wasn't Windows
I
Vista.
just like that. I like how she's very much kind of, oh, okay, I can do this and stuff. And as though it's a normal thing. Like how messed up the Star Trek universe is, where you just have all of these planets that are just controlled by giant computers and custom made by ancient dead civilizations. And they're like, it's this scenario again. Okay, it's such a common thing.
Where's the floating curators? That's what I want to know. It's got to be Halo references all the way through this. Whilst Freeman is trying to find out what's going on with the computer, Boimler has his first team leader mission. He's in charge of a group of ensigns who've been put in charge of retrofitting the power relays Starfleet put in during first contact. He's very, very anxious about this assignment, as this is his first duty as a Lieutenant JG, which is a Lieutenant Junior grade. And he's prepping himself up. He is Boss Boimler. He is Boss Boimler. As he says this, T'Lyn walks in, and T'Lyn goes, "Oh, you're doing your usual pre-meeting psych up." And he's like, "Oh,
ritual." Yeah.
I love the fact though where he was like, "Oh, I'll just check the comm badges," and she's like, "The technology is adequate," and I'm like, "Yes, we are mentioned. We are canon. We are."
I like though that they test the comm badge and they get feedback from it. It's just the idea.
Jake. Nerdy Jesus or Jake in our team would probably appreciate a good sound check pun in Star Trek. But yeah, so Boimler's briefing the ensign, and T'Lyn is on site in case any science stuff happens, and she just snaps back with, anything and everything is science stuff.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, just get involved at any point.
Yeah. The one thing I noticed though, when I went to go to these power relays, they are all warp cores from NX ships from Star Trek Enterprise. They are based
really?
I didn't
notice that.
They are based on the warp cores from Star Trek Enterprise, and I'm like, that's how sad my life is, Synoiz. I notice warp core shapes, and I'm just like, that's from that show.
I'm amazed by it because I didn't notice that, but I love the idea that that's what they gave them for first contact. They were like, well, we've got these lines.
Here's this old shit.
They'll help.
Yeah. Here's this old shit. T'Lyn also explains to Boimler that young ensigns who are under the command of newly promoted lieutenants are more likely to die or suffer dismemberment. And he's like, what? Death? And she's like, and dismemberment. So like, don't forget that limbs will be lost. Basically they are there to replace these very sensitive components to these power relays that need to be taken out in a specific way, otherwise they will explode. So this further fuels the anxiety that Boimler is facing about this, because obviously he's just been told that ensigns can die under their first mission with a newly promoted officer, and they're just like, these are very sensitive and these will kill people. And I'm like, wow, T'Lyn, you cowbag. I almost wonder if it was
just
deliberate.
very, very logical.
Yeah. And Boimler's just like, so it's like disarming a building-sized bomb, and she's just like, yep.
Yeah, it's like, that analogy is adequate, or something.
Yeah. Back on the Cerritos, Rutherford, Mariner, and Tendi are hoping that Boimler is okay. They feel like they don't feel like they are newly promoted lieutenants. They still feel like they are ensigns. And as they are talking about this, Tendi goes, well, we do have one perk that ensigns don't. We have access to the anomaly room. And this is where the reference
which has never
happening.
Been mentioned before.
Never.
Like, this is never ever made.
Why the fuck would you have haphazardly stored all these fucking anomalies in an open room without being like restricted away, locked away in sealed boxes?
Where it's almost akin to Harry Potter, where you just kind of go, hang the fuck on. Like the fact of like Hogwarts does not have a health and safety, so it has nobody doing health and safety checks because he's just like going, hold on, the room of requirement where it just has insanely dangerous shit just lying around. They're like, no, yeah, probably should have done something about that. And that's the equivalent here. This is just a room full of dangerous stuff that anyone can just find.
The one thing that Star Trek has taught us over maybe the last 35 years, health and safety don't fucking matter. Let's not forget Data and Geordie's experiments in front of the thing that powers the ship.
The warp core. Let's just fire this laser towards the warp core.
Oh, we need to do an
This would be
experiment.
great.
Get me a phaser rifle and point it directly at the dilithium chamber. What could go wrong? And
it's obviously, it's like, out of everyone to do it, Data is the person who you would not expect to be doing it.
I know, right? Yeah. The person who's quoting regulations all the time. So yeah, in the anomaly room, we see
a lot of stuff.
The Nomad probe from the original series episode The Changeling, the Romulan cloaking device from the original series episode The Enterprise Incident, the Vulcan Lerper, the Batleth, the Betazoid gift box from the Next Generation episode Haven, which you can find on Captain's Quadrants when the Agony Booth, which is an episode I featured on, so go like, comment, and subscribe on that one.
You mean it wasn't a good one?
Who was played by Armin Shimmerman. We also see the probe from TNG's The Inner Light. That's the Catan probe from TNG's The Inner Light. As they go over to the Betazoid gift box, it starts talking. Tendi explains, because Rutherford goes, is it sentient? And Tendi goes, no, it just picks up stuff and repeats it. And then it goes, eat a bag of bog dicks, motherfucker. Oh, I didn't realise Ta'ana was here, which I love.
See, it's just the most obscure reference to just one episode of TNG where they literally just have a box. They just have a box with a guy's face in it. And it's just like, this is the worst special effect I've ever seen, pretty much.
Joe will testify this, that one thing that got me with him from DS9's Move Along Home. Another fantastic episode. Halamare, move along, lemon meringue.
I love this. How you know what like Lower Decks is. Lower Decks is like, you know, when you've got a really good friend who knows all of the terrible stuff you've done, or all the horrible things that happened, and they just keep bringing it up, and you know that it'll never die because they exist. You know, where you just go, hey, remember that time when that horrible thing happened? And you're like, yeah, but all of the people here around us don't know about that, so shut up. You know, that's what Lower Decks is. Lower Decks is like, remember that awful episode with like Haven? Remember the episode with the fucking Waddy game in? And it just goes, no, we're gonna bring this back. So all of the kids that got into Star Trek through Discovery and stuff are gonna be like, oh, let's watch Lower Decks. What's that? Oh, let's watch that episode. No, not that one. Don't start DS9 on that one. Don't.
But this is why when our lovely co-host of Monsters Up North, Sammy, has started her Star Trek journey, and Jake was like, no, use a skip list, miss the episode, and I'm like, no. No, you must take the pain to embrace the pleasure. It makes it all the sweeter. So watch Code of Honor.
Actual skip list?
There is a skip list. There is a skip list for all Star Trek series, yes.
I disagree.
Discovery's probably all of it. So moving on. No, I joke.
First 4 episodes, then.
I joke. I like Discovery just a lot less than the rest. So as they are about to get into the Wadi Shula game, they are asked to go to the isolinear chip control junction, and they are a bit pissed off because they thought they had the whole afternoon to themselves to dick around in the anomaly room, which is what newly promoted people should always do.
Yeah.
They get to the control room where Lieutenant Dirk, is asking them to scan every single isolinear chip in the room because the sensors, before they went down, detected a malfunction in one of them. Mariner gets a bit pissed off because she's like, there are thousands, and he's like, yep, and they all have to be scanned. This leads Tendi to believe that there may be a bit of hazing going on from the senior staff. And Rutherford's like, no, why would they haze us? We're lieutenants. And she's like, well, this is just bog standard cadet work. Why would we be doing this? But Rutherford being Rutherford, he just fucking cracks on with it because he just loves work. Bless him. Bless his little cotton socks.
Who is the guy here? Has he been in before?
Lieutenant Dirk, I don't believe he has.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was just like, oh shit, like if it frames him like a character who's been there for ages, and I'm like, I don't recall this guy at all. But
I also love that Billups has a ferret.
yeah, that's it. It just kind of dropped that into it. But yeah, and obviously he also mentions that while they're doing this, Billups's Billups's pet ferret Lancelot has escaped.
Of course, it's called Lancelot, by the way, because Billup is he the heiress? He is the heiress, isn't he? Or
yeah, he's the prince of a whole planet.
He is the prince of a race of humans who separated from Earth and just became a monarchy. And as a British person, I'm just like, I don't want to be anywhere near that. So anyway, back on. Yeah.
I need to acknowledge what's happening in the chat, where basically everyone is pretending that Christopher doesn't exist, and I'm just going to spoil the game for you there. He doesn't. Yeah, great.
This anomaly.
So it's good. It's everyone. Everyone's basically just being like, "Oh no, why isn't Chris here?" And Chris is like, "I am here."
However, there is an anomaly that asks, "What happens if you sit on the Beta Z gift box? Does it suffocate?"
Wow.
If you want to sit on the face of a box, that's
the gift. That's the gift.
We on the U.S.S. Adequate do not kink shame. Have you seen Science Officer Synoiz? The room is off limits.
Just imagine sitting on the box at a Betazoid wedding.
They are nude. Moving on. On Vexilon. Freeman can't see any issues so far with the computer as she's analysing it. She then looks at the terminal and realises that the operating system is slightly out of date.
This literally started giving me sort of palpitations when this happened, because I'm just like, don't do it. Don't
do it. Because I love the fact he goes, well, there was that weekend where my creators evolved into fifth dimensional energy beings and then just left me alone. But she goes, well, the last update was 6,000,007 years ago, and immediately he's like, that was a good year, good harvest.
It's just the most surreal.
Obviously, for any of us who have experienced Windows Vista, it goes horribly wrong.
But this is the thing, I get this at work a lot, where basically people just go, oh, can't you? The horrible thing, like nowadays, the way that people develop stuff is they develop stuff. So basically, it's like tons and tons of like other people's stuff just crammed together. So basically, you just put it all together, and then if you update one thing, it can stop everything else working.
Yeah.
So it's actually a nightmare. And then you'll get stuff where, you'll have it where it's stuck on one version because they managed to customize loads of stuff that will get overwritten or destroyed if you update it. And the worst thing that you can do is just run an update without any actual research into it. So the idea of this, I was just like, oh no, don't do it.
Can I?
So I like that the people writing Lower Decks are devs as well.
Yeah. Can I also point out OneDrive? Fuck it.
Mary, just don't use it like sensible people.
Yeah, I don't really have a choice. Mary Kitten Bonkers. Why on earth didn't they get Armin Shimmerman to voice the box? I would not like to be the person that goes, Mr. Shimmerman, you are an accomplished Shakespearean actor, well known as portraying Quark, the Ferengi in DS9. Would you like to play a box that you played 35 years ago in Haven? Where are you going, Armin?
For 3 lines. For 3 lines. I think it's also the fact of, I think he probably would. I think he'd probably do it. But they're like, we don't want to pay Armin Shimmerman for 3 fucking lines of dialogue. I think there's very much a kind of, aspect there.
I think Paramount
if it was in the same season and they could have done it with his appearance as Quark, maybe. I think this, I'm just going, okay, that's throwing money around wildly.
I think Paramount learned from the 90s when they were like, the contract was, you will get $7,500 per episode even if you've just got 1 line. And I'm like, with Haven, Shimmerman put on silver spray paint, smiled, said 3 lines, collected his check, and drove straight home.
Can you imagine it though? Can you literally just how crazy it'd be just that one episode where you're just like, hey, I'm in it for a shot, or I'm just in the background of like Quark's bar or something, and then
Contractually,
you
yeah.
still get paid. You know, it's like that's amazing.
Contractually, I remember our friends at the Shuttlepod show. No, it wasn't the Shuttlepod show. It was Clone Star podcast. Sean was interviewing Alexander Siddig, and he explained that the contract was you had to be, even if you didn't have any lines, you had to be in at least one shot per episode of DS9 to get paid. And he said that was the easiest paycheck he would ever. He would turn up on a Monday, he would be in one scene, and then he would just go home for 7 days. But he still collected a paycheck. Now, can you imagine someone saying, we need you at Monday between 12 and 2, put on your uniform, go home and wait for your $7,500 paycheck in 1995?
It's really crazy because you kind of think like they'd be annoyed because they're like, oh shit, I didn't get any screen time.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I'm barely in this episode. And then they're just like, yes.
Yeah. However, we will always say Trekking Up North, God's Sake Studios, talk to SAG-AFTRA, talk to the WGA, support the actors, support the writers. Let's end this strike. Otherwise, you will get no new shows until 2030.
Yeah. Get them good pay.
Yep. So, as we all predict, as people who work with technology or are devs or working IT, Freeman runs the update. Guess what? Shit goes south pretty fast. Because the update freezes.
Yeah. Well, I think it just breaks everything. So, yeah.
Well, it does because the ground starts to shake and the clouds just simply just freeze up and just fall out the fucking sky, which would be
I love though that it shows all these scenes of like the clouds icing up and just crashing to the ground.
Yeah.
And it's got like a painting class, and it falls on them and they all jump out the way. But there's just one guy and one girl in the background who just keeps painting. She's like, aha! Yeah. And I just love the idea that she's just indifferent to all this crazy stuff going on.
You've got to be creative. Speaking of, Boimler, anxious as fuck, sees that the clouds are crashing out of the sky. It's starting to snow where he is. And he's like, okay, we've got to be super safe and we've got to hurry. And Lynn, again, she's like, I would advise against hurrying. And instead of letting his team dismantle these components from the power relays, he shows them how to do it, and he shows them how to do it perfectly, and he turns into Spider Boimler, where he's just like, you have to dislocate this and do this and move this, and he just mounts the power relay, starts turning it with his teeth, and then he runs out of the shuttle, and then he's still talking, and he's running out of the shuttle, and then he's coming back, and he's like, yeah, but don't put it in the magenta bin. I have been that person and I have experienced that person, and I'm just like, oh, the anxiety they must feel.
It's really difficult. I think it's quite good in this episode because Boimler does that whole thing of, I mean, the whole point of being like a team leader or a manager is being able to let go and being able to trust in other people, or being able to deal with the fallout of someone failing.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of, obviously, this is Boimler's first away mission, his first mission in charge of stuff. And yeah, he doesn't delegate very well at all. No. He has to do everything himself. And, you know, it's something that, you know, it's very difficult to let go, I think, when you've probably got it at your work.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, with your new person, you're like, oh no, Will, it's quicker for me to just do that. But they're never going to learn if you don't.
Yeah, I do not ever want to be a manager. A team leader. I cannot manage people. I cannot deal with people on a regular basis, let alone manage them. And I have been in that situation that Boimler has, where it's just like, I could show you and I could let you do it, but it's easier for me to do it. And like, I've done it as I am teaching, like Boimler does in this episode. I will show you how to do it. So you do this, you do this. Actually, it's easy if I just do it. You just go ahead and do whatever you need to do. And
it's so tough.
And they don't learn. And then this week, obviously, because I'm leaving, ambivalent.
Buggering off abroad, like.
Seeking pastures new, as I stated in my out of office. You sort of realise, going, shit, I haven't taught them anything. And they sort of need to learn now.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult to, and it's not even a trust issue. It's sort of like, I don't want you to get into trouble because I did something. I taught you something wrong.
Yeah.
And that's how I just could not deal with that on a regular basis. I could not be a manager. So I sympathise with Boymes.
It's a difficult thing, but obviously, like, you know, I think we've all probably been in that situation where you're like, actually, it's easier if I just do it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but what's the scene after this? Is it where
Back
the
at the
computer?
Cerritos.
Oh, is it?
Because
Okay.
they are scanning the isolinear chips, and Rutherford freaks out because he sees Billups' ferret.
Just hiding behind the chips.
Yeah, and Mariner's getting burnt by chips. Rutherford keeps scanning, and he's like, "Oh, you know, you scan the last. It's always the last chip that you scan. That's the faulty one." And he scans the last chip, and they're all fine. As he says that, Dirk comes in, and he's like, "Oh, we've done all the chips." And he's like, "Have you? Have you done these chips?" And he presses like a hidden button and shows another row. And he's like, "Well, we didn't know about that." He's like, "Well, I thought it was plainly obvious with the hidden button on the console."
Yeah.
Rutherford dismisses it, and Mariner is just Mariner fucked off. Back on the Halo ring, we will call it the Halo ring. Fuck it, I'm not going to call it anything else.
To be fair, I forgot what it's called. Is it Carazon?
Back on the ring.
I have nothing. I have nothing. You're just having your Halo moment right now.
Literally am. I've got a Halo right above me. They can see my Halo.
Any more pop culture references you wanna slide into this episode right now?
Oh yes.
To be fair, after the room of anomalous things, it's like, yeah, I think it's a suitable episode to just put random shit into it. You know?
So back on Halo, the weather is absolutely freaking out. There's clouds, there's storm, there's night, and there's day. Freeman thinks that she's found a way to fix it and fix the error. So she says, "Oh, well, the instruction manual just says press this button." Again, flashbacks to Windows Vista. She presses the button and it just makes things 10 times fucking worse. However, being a good... Go on.
Well, what happened is she does that. Oh, what we'll do is we'll boot it in safe mode, and then it brings up safe mode, and then immediately goes back to it runs the actual
Regenesis
program again. So it's basically as if they just set up a new planet, and it's like, okay, time to time to terraform the planet and get rid of all life and then create it again.
But she does have one redeeming feature. She calls tech support because she beams down Billups, who is a little bit upset because Lancelot's escaped when he was cleaning his snuggle tower. Does not sound like an innuendo at all.
That's what I call it. That's my snuggle tower.
Yeah. Yeah, so it starts going into regenesis mode and starts terraforming the Halo.
So Chris just saying, "Damn, I pressed the make worse button."
Yeah, the make
it worse button. Every computer has one of them.
I keep mentioning Vista, but yeah, Windows 10 has had its issues as well.
Windows 10 is all right. It's not. That was
XP for life. So. Back at the power relay station, Boimler is about to remove the last unit. The ensigns are a little bit annoyed because this is their first mission and they haven't been able to do anything, so there's an element of frustration. Tallinn states that leading by example is not proving to be efficient because Boimler is knackered. He's been taking these power relays back to the shuttle there and back. He's dripping with sweat, bless him. He's sexy uniform, which I am wearing, is absolutely dripping. Just as he is about to remove the last one, Freeman contacts him and advises him that he needs to put them all back because they're going to try and force restart Vexilon and then route all the power that Vexilon needs through the power station. So Boimler, again, doesn't rely on his ensigns, takes it upon himself to reinstall all these power nodes.
Yeah.
Showing again. See, I thought at this stage that Boimler was doing this because he just didn't want any of his crew to die or be dismembered.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like, it's sweet, but he needs to learn to trust his team.
Well, I think it's also the idea of he wants the mission to go well, so and he doesn't trust them. So I think there's an element of a lack of trust, and there's an element of, fear for their safety because it's not going to look good if they all die, as Tillin said that they would.
Back on the Synoiz, the gang have laid a trap in Dirk's quarters for the apparent hazing, where they have done a Scooby trap, where they have done a they've done a Catan. They've installed a Catan probe, the Betazoid gift box, the Waddy game, and a tripwire. So when he enters the room, he trips over the tripwire, gets attacked by the Betazoid gift box, and launches into the Waddy game.
No, and then gets shot by the beam probe thing, the Catan probe.
Nothing says prank than having 25 years of your life displayed in front of your eyes in seconds.
It's so good that it's just randomly in this episode.
Imagine if they did that to Miles O'Brien again.
Yeah, he had he didn't even have a good life though.
No, he was in prison.
It's like Picard had a wonderful life with wife and kids and stuff, and Miles O'Brien just got stuck in prison, and then he wakes up. And worse, he's still married to Keiko. So it's this idea of all the good that he got in prison, it's just gone.
Terry Metalis, I know you're watching. Keiko O'Brien, greatest villain ever. Call me.
She is, definitely.
As they are leaving,
villain of Trek.
Yeah, as they are leaving.
Also, I just want to mention: is the previous scene the one where the volcano appears and Tallin's just like, oh, is that a mountain? Oh, and then it erupts lava, and it's just like,
yes,
nope, that's a volcano.
It's either
just like going, that's got worse.
It's either a mountain or a volcano. It's a volcano. So they've laid this trap for Dirk. As they are leaving the quarters, they bump into him, and he's like, have you checked all these isolinear chips? And they're just like, yep. And he's like, oh, I'm so happy. I'm so relieved. And basically,
it's so important. If one of those chips is out of order, then the entire system could fail.
And then he opens up the reason why he didn't do it is because he got stuck in the Wadi game for a solid month, and he was too dumb because he was a kid and he couldn't get out. And the isolinear chip room makes him remember that he's in the game, and he starts crying. And Mariner just shits herself, and she's like, "Oh, talk to me about Tellarite slop jazz," and goes to the guys like, "Fix it."
Jazz.
Yeah, I love that she's just like, "Fix it."
I just love because we know the Tellarites are bastards. You just kind of wonder what this is. Tellarite slop jazz. They're a race that has never been displayed well. They've never, they're like the Ferengi, where there's never been a redeeming feature for them from what I've seen.
It has to involve fluids. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, that's what she says as they're walking away. She's just like, that sounds very wet, but go on.
Yeah. Back on Halo, Tallinn begs Boimler to allow the ensigns to help him, and the situation is getting more dire on the planet. Essentially, it's regenesizing. Regenesizing? Yeah. Very Star Trek 3.
Hold on.
I've had enough of you! Sorry.
Christopher said slop jazz sounds like Gwar. Yeah, pretty much.
Query. Gwar?
Do you not know Gwar?
No.
Oh, they're amazing. They're basically a sort of... It's not death metal. It's basically kind of... Maybe heavy metal, I'd say. So they're kind of a bit poppy, they're not quite ghost poppy, but, they're sort of... But basically they're a heavy metal band from a couple of years ago. And... They won Eurovision, didn't they, with Hard Rock Hallelujah, I think. But basically the whole point is that the lead singer of them also makes costumes for films. So, Power Ranger monsters and stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Where it's massive full suits and stuff of monsters. He makes them.
Oh,
so basically it just means that the entire band are this, what is it called? The banana splits, where they're all just in weird costumes for the whole show with horrendous skeletons and monsters. And they always, I think I saw them at Bloodstock a couple of years back, but basically they spray the whole audience with blood. It's ludicrous.
I really want to watch this. I'm going to watch this.
They're brilliant. I think they're broken up now because I think the singer died, and they were like, "Oh,
Oh.
he's kind of the guy who did everything." I think, but yeah, but Gore are one of those ones where you're like, I know it's a joke, but it's still brilliant, you know.
Just a quick side note. My uniform's got shoulder
Oh,
pads in it.
sorry. Ensign Bailey's pointing out that Gore and Lordy are two different bands. Lordy is the one that won Eurovision. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm Lordy. That's all I know.
Yeah. I am Lordy.
Yeah, my uniform's got shoulder pads in it.
Oh, do you feel like Joan Collins?
I feel defined. Look, I'm in
Repeat
Dynasty.
after me. Don't fuck with me, fellas.
Don't fuck with me, fellas.
This ain't my first time.
This ain't my first time.
Right, that's probably the best drag performance I've seen this week. And I was at a fundraiser.
That's us not getting paid. Moving on. So yeah, demonetized. Message from Joan Collins. Oh fuck.
Is she alive? Is Joan Collins still alive?
Well, I am looking at a Ouija board. So yeah. Yeah, so anyway, back on Halo, Tillin is begging Boimler to let the ensigns take some sort of responsibility because the situation is getting dire. The planet is reforming, the Halo ring is reforming, and he finally admits that the reason why he's doing all of this is because a week ago he was one of them, and now he's in charge of them, and he wonders why why has he been put in a position where they could die, where he is in charge of who could die. And Tillin states, his promotion was not random and not by chance. He deserved the promotion for the work that he has done. She's read up on his file. She knows his strengths and weaknesses. And this sort of motivates Boimler to sort of get into that seniority rank role where he's just like, right, you're the team, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. And we see a brand new purple-headed hero emerge in this episode. Back on the Cerritos, the mad rush begins because Tendi legs it into the isolinear control junction and starts doing John Wick on these scanners. And I don't have a scanner gun to recreate it. I've got a unicorn bubble gun, but that might take me out of role. As she does that, Rutherford heads into the quarters, but he trips on the trap, and oh my god, the Betazoid gift box attacks him, and as he attacks him, the Waddy game drags them into the game, where we see the young lass, and she's like, hello, follow me. Hello, Marine, 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
I just love it how, like, hold on, Sarah Peach, you watched all of DS9 and you're on Voyager now. Like the Waddy game, like it is the worst episode of DS9.
If that's the worst
which is strange
episode,
because it's not a Bashir episode.
Yeah. Ooh.
But
if that's the worst
my hot
episode,
take, but he is shit.
If that's
literally, I just watched because I was very run down the other week.
Yeah.
And basically, I watched some DS9 to relax. But the episode it gave me was the one where it's spoilers if you haven't seen it, but it's it's the Bashir episode, but where basically they have the guy who they have the space criminal who can jump bodies.
Oh yes.
And it's basically
my God, yes.
Bashir trying to act. It's painful. It's not good.
Come on, he was young and he was with Nana Visitor. I mean, he was living the dream. I
say the same judgment as I have with Boris Johnson, where people go, but he was doing his best, and you're like, yes, but there's other people that could have done it better. Why was he there? That is, which is my because it's this idea of going, what an amazing episode, but it's let down by the fact of just going, no, it's so cringe.
Well,
yeah, anyway, but aside from that, this is like the terrible episode of DS9. So I love that they're just rubbing salt in the wound by just referencing it here.
Science Officer Synoiz has raised an excellent point when he mentioned Boris Johnson, because as we all know on Trekkin Up North and Nerdy Up North as a whole, whenever you mention the Conservative parties, we have to say, fuck the Tories.
Thank you, punk seagull.
Moving on. So
It was
yeah,
quite good at one of the drag performances at the fundraiser last night. Literally, the host was just like, "Oh, fuck the Tories," and then the entire everyone in the venue is just like, "Fuck the Tories," and it's just
it's
it's
beautiful.
that's what it's like living in the north
Yeah,
because that's why our
Thatcher,
country's shit right now.
Thatcher, the milk snatcher. Okay, yeah.
No,
So
I do like that meme though, which points out that sort of the best thing Thatcher's ever done in her whole life is that her grave is now a gender neutral toilet. So
one last tangent. I was first introduced to Graeme Synoiz, the Geesian from the planet Honk, last year, where he joined on a community chat where we listed our top 5 movies.
downhill since.
Synoiz's #1 movie was Margaret Thatcher's Funeral.
I forgot about that. I forgot that it was just like, what's your favorite movie?
I very rarely, in fact, never cried on
Do you remember
screen.
what I said immediately after announcing that was my favorite?
Yes,
movie?
and I am not going to repeat it because this is not the
Okay.
show to say that on. But it rhymes with difficult tank. So moving on. Fuck the Tories. Rutherford is speeding through the game as Tendi is scanning furiously in the Isolinia chip room. Tendi finds that the last chip in the room is the defective chip, and she's like, "Got your ass, snap." Are you alright tonight?
My microphone because I'm just having to laugh out loud. Sorry.
I hope it's on Blu-ray. So yeah.
Oh my word! I love that they're sort of like, do you want to do Phantasmophobia or whatever for the 24-hour stream? I'm like, it's going to end the same way.
It's gonna end. It's it ain't right wing, that's for sure. The so yeah, they find the Isolinia chip that has been defective. Mariner is still trying to distract Dirk, where he goes, "I really should be getting back to my quarters. I've got a meeting with Dr. Miglimo." She fails to store him.
Doesn't he mention Ketracel White?
Yeah, where
It's a really random reference.
One of the slop jazz artists OD'd on Ketracel White.
I love the idea that like normal people are taking this drug that was like purely meant for the Dominion.
Yeah, but Mariner's just like, "Yeah, that shit'll fuck you up," and I'm just like, okay. So yeah, all the while as he's heading back to the room, Rutherford like skips all the way through the game. He is speeding through this Waddy game like in 15 seconds. He is like the greatest speed runner of this game. He gets out of it, he wins the game, and then the Catan probe is there. As it fires, he blocks it with a Betazoid gift box, and then the gift box is just like, "Oh wow, what was that 25 years?" And he's just like, "Yeah, sorry about that." And he's like, "I miss my wife." And that's the second That's like the second time in this series where we're just like, "I miss my wife." Is this going to be a running gag all the way through Lower Decks now?
But I genuinely loved how he just speeds through it. How he's literally, because we get to see I don't know what he's called, but the leader of the Waddy in DS9.
Oh, the one with the moustache.
Get like, yeah, but we basically get like him in cartoon form with inside the game. Yeah, and just basically Rutherford speeding through it, doing the hopscotch, singing the song, and just abandoning the girl. Like literally, I just like it. And like anyone who hasn't seen DS9 is just gonna be like, "What the fuck is all this?"
Anyone who's not seen the Inner Light or anything like that is gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?" However, though, they do successfully distract him. Only to a certain point where he gets to the quarters door and he's like, "Oh, hang on a minute, I'm meeting Miglimo in his quarters." And then Rutherford just collapses because they've avoided trapping Turk. Back on the Halo ring, Boimler has successfully restored the power to the power relay station. The power is then transferred to Vexilon, and he starts to reverse all the regenesis process. However, the team that has been successful in helping Boimler realise that the turbine is starting to overheat. So Boimler, ever the leader, ever the wannabe captain that he is, orders his team to leave the power station. He will deal with this. He will do the emergency shut-off switch, not to put his crew at risk, like any true captain would, except me. I'd be on the first thing floating. Not like the Costa Concordia, though. But, yeah, so he stays at the power station, and Freeman's like, we need to get this power. We need to restore this. So when I say restore, like shut down, once everything is being restored, it gets restored. The computer reboots. Boimler shuts down, but it's too late, and the power station explodes. And then we just see a body slam into the floor in front of the away team. It's Boimler, and he's dead.
I love how you're trying to make this serious, and I'm just like, lols. I'm just like, it's lower decks. It's lols.
He's dead. However, he does wake up in a mysterious room. And outside of the window of this mysterious room is a black mountain. Watchers of lower decks will realise where Boimler is and what he has to do. As he is looking at the black mountain, he turns around to see the great Koala. Who?
Do we have to explain this? Because we haven't done these previous episodes. Are we going to have to explain all this?
There is a running gag in Lower Decks that the Koala is... This Koala is some sort of divine being, a god, if you will, that has sort of taken on a life of its own. So every cold open for Star Trek... Lower Decks, where you see the ship flying through and the music, has a cloud silhouette of a great koala. Even in the These Old Scientists crossover in Strange New Worlds, right at the end, as the Enterprise warps away, we see the great koala. Is the great koala a god? Is he some sort of omnipotent being? Is he a Q? We don't know. All we at Trekkin Up North have to say is, praise be to the great koala.
Could the koala defeat Keiko?
No.
Okay. So it's not that powerful.
He's not that powerful. Nothing is. The koala then starts talking gibberish to Boimler, but Boimler freezes up. His eyes shrink and he's like, "Aah!" And then he's brought back to life by Ta'ana.
I love that he just comes back to life and we're like, oh, okay. We were expecting him to be dead, but yeah.
And Ta'ana's just like, oh, whatever I did worked.
Yeah, that's it. Just like, oh, what the fuck happened there? I love her in this bit. Like,
yeah. So they are celebrating that he is alive. He's happy. The crew are happy, and they're like, oh my god, he's fine. And he's what was he? So he gets brought back. And T'Lyn explains to him that the operating system has been updated and it should keep the population perfectly safe in a perfect climate for the next 1,000 years. Ransom congratulates him and he's like, aha, you'll never forget your first death. And then as he does that...
Which is kind of taking the piss out of like what happened with Shax, where he just goes, hang on. Like he just comes back and it's like, yeah, you don't really die in Trek.
Yeah, we don't really talk about it. As he says that though, he dies again. And Ta'ana just comes across, oh, for Christ's sake, give me 30 cc's of whatever worked 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, whatever just worked a minute ago.
Yeah.
But I always like that because I'm not scientific at all. Like, well, I'm a science officer, but medical at all. But it's the idea of like 30 cc's. It's like, what measurement unit is that?
A fuck ton.
It's not though. It's a tiny little bit, isn't it?
30 cc's is a fuck ton.
Oh, is it? Because they use it all the time, like,
30 cubic centimeters.
30 cc's. Oh, is that what it is?
30 cubic centimeters. I believe it. I don't know.
It can't be cubic centimeters.
No,
that's okay. That's 30 cc's.
I'm definitely looking up at LCARS and definitely not Google. We are educational at Trekkin Up North.
How's everyone doing in the chat? Like it's been so fun reading the chat today. It's like
Cubic centimetre. 30 cubic centimetres.
that's just
I fucked
yeah,
up.
that's weird. That's like, a whole glass of stuff.
Yeah, it's Christopher says it's less than a gram.
A grem.
A
So it's
grem.
smaller than a gremlin.
Oh well, that's fine. Don't piss on it though.
Don't piss on a gremlin. Don't piss on a mogwai. You can piss on a gremlin, can't you?
Quack quack.
Oh no. No, yeah, you're not allowed to feed a mogwai and then don't piss on a gremlin. Cool, got it. Okay.
Quack quack. Um, Beth said it's been great, Synoiz. Why? We're not finished yet. Because
It's not finished.
is Beth our PA now?
It's finished.
Is Beth sat at the other side just doing this?
Yeah, she's like, come on.
The amount of times I've been in a studio and I have someone on the floor just going, I'm like, I'm not a helicopter.
Like, you meant to use both your hands when dancing.
Back on the Cerritos.
We are professionals. We are
mature
adults and we are professionals.
Shut up, we are adequate. Back on the Cerritos. The team are glad. Rutherford, Tendi, and Mariner, they are all glad they have been able to resolve everything, find the isolinear chip, and not get Dirk trapped in the Waddy game. Rutherford is very glad that deep under that gruff exterior of a guy is someone who's just trying to find peace. And Mariner is pissed off that he keeps sending her jazz albums and she fucking likes it.
Yeah, I love that. It's like sort of I like it, and I'm not a jazz person. And it's so true though. It's like if someone sends me a genre of music that I don't like, and I'm like, damn it, now do I have to listen to loads of new stuff? I'm like, oh damn it, I'm too old to have new music tastes.
Christopher's just said, can you use that hand motion at the BBC anymore? I did 10 years ago.
It depends where the child is. But
so it used to be no, sorry, it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like that, and then when you went to wrap up, it was that.
Well, it's weird though because it's kind of to start with fewer fingers usually.
Not at the BBC, hence why they are called the BBC. So yeah, they are more or less relieved. Job well done. Everything's back to normal. And then off into the distance in the bar, you see Jack and Dirk talking, where they're just like, so they fell for the Waddy game trick, and they're just like, yeah. Picks up Lancelot.
I just love this where it's just the idea of just going, what the fuck? Because he's like, I told them about I had a fear of Waddy games and stuff, and I was stuck in it for a month. And I just think how bizarre the situation is where he knew that they were going to use the Waddy game to trap him, and just all of the stuff where they're like, that must happen all the time, and you're like, that's so obscure. It's brilliant.
Christopher said, if Wayne's World taught me anything, it's 3, 2, 1 is silent. Christopher, you are almost right. It is 5, 4, 3. That's how it goes.
I think you should make more noise. So it should be sort of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, modern studios like the BBC don't really have it because it's all automated and it's done for the control room, so they just do it through an earpiece. Yes.
No.
Yes, the cameras.
Do they not even have hand puppets?
The new studio at the Beeb.
You'd do with Sooty, wouldn't you?
The new studio at the Beeb in London. The cameras are on rails and are remotely controlled from the control room now. Yeah.
It's
to paraphrase.
Well done, crazy.
To paraphrase South Park. So, yeah, Dirk, as the last prank, sets Lancelot on Rutherford. The ferret crawls up Rutherford, does not go inside him though, but goes onto Rutherford, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's it. But what a great little episode! Like it's
wonderful.
But like I was saying, it the amount of references in, because it tells a good story. It uses all the characters well. It introduces new characters, a new race and whatnot. Like even the computer's really funny. And obviously we're not going to see the computer again, most likely. But it's this idea of but then it has all of these wonderful bits of nostalgia and references to previous Trek, but uses them well, where they're actually part of the plot rather than just being look in the background, it's fan service.
If Mike McHannon is worth anything, he is a gem of a person who is taking beta canon from Star Trek and is going, I'm making this canon, and you don't have a choice. Like we saw last week with the Romulan ship that's vertical instead of horizontal, and like
Yeah.
that was just a drawing on Andrew Probert's piece of paper in his office, and Mike McCannon's like, that's canon now. And then you see in one of the series, I think it was season 2, was Spock's helmet, which was a toy from the 60s, where if for those of you that don't know,
So terrible.
yeah, for those of you that don't know, obviously Star Trek was all the rage in the 60s. Obviously, it got cancelled and there was a Captain Payne and it got brought back. But bespoke merchandise for shows was very few and far in between because obviously it cost a lot. So Paramount had a deal with this toy company who had just generic toys.
Yeah.
And it was like a helmet and a gun and a motorbike and stuff like that. So what they would do, they were like, we've got this, we'll slap some Star Trek related things, stickers on it, and then just call it that. And one of them was the Spock helmet. And it was literally, it was a helmet with a siren on it, just a red light at the top, and it just said Spock. Lower Decks made that shit canon. It is the most obscure shit you will ever see. And they were like, that's canon now.
Well, yeah, I love it. Like this week or whatever, people online have been going, the koala is canon now.
Yeah.
It's just how dumb it is.
It absolutely is. And I love it. And this is, I love Lower Decks because it treats Star Trek with love and respect because it's been made by fans, but it also recognizes that there is a whole beta universe, and it's like we want to make that as much as possible and as much as it makes sense canon, and I love that. I absolutely love it. Like
well, I just love that that later on they're going to make Bashir and Garrick being a couple canon. You know that's going to happen because that is the biggest thing, like in sort of gay Trek circles, is literally that they are a couple, because that's what, like, that's what Andrew Robinson was like going for when he was playing Garrick.
He is,
and there's fan, they what was it? There was fan fiction written, and then over
loads.
lockdown they both recorded it
They
together.
did. Yeah, they absolutely
Yeah,
did.
so it's the
over
idea of I bet Lower Decks is gonna have a fucking Bashir and Garrick episode.
Now is the time. Now is the time for Andrew Robinson to don the Cardassian makeup and bring back Garrick. The one thing I love...
I don't think he'll ever do the makeup again, but I definitely think he would do Lower Decks.
I think with modern makeup now, it's a lot easier, and it's a lot... it would be... Like, the chemicals that they use to apply it are a lot different, and they're a lot safer. The one thing... And, guys, the description is below for the Shuttlepod show. If you watch any episode of the Shuttlepod show, watch the one with Andrew Robinson, because this actor played Garrick on Deep Space Nine. This gentleman had such an interesting and action-packed life, you wouldn't believe it. And he, like, very much like one of the Freddy movies where the actor portrayed him as a homosexual? And the director did not have a clue. Very much Garrick, Andrew Robinson's aim was Garrick was attracted to Bashir.
Yeah, he was literally just like, oh, look at this beautiful young man kind of thing, and just being a total lech.
And Rick Berman did not have a clue. And Robinson is super fucking proud of this because he's like, this is how I want to play Garrick. This is how I'm going to. And no one batted an eyelid. No one noticed it. And it's only since the resurgence of Star Trek on Netflix in the last 10, 15 years where people have been watching it, and more people are realising these subtle undertones that were there from the beginning. They were there in the 90s, and people are just like, shit, yes, he did.
He said in interviews, that's how I played him, because that's how the character was written to me. Like, it's this idea of going, this character who has a lot of mystery to him, why would he possibly sit down with this young doctor who essentially is just trying to get information from him? And it's because he's like, okay, I'll take this like delicious bait, and then
Was.
plays it that. Well, that's it. Just the idea of just like, oh, the bit where he puts his hands on his shoulder, it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
so, and Bashir's just like, what? But I love the idea of that being like that being canon to the point where they gave Garak a girlfriend. They gave Garak, well, a beard, uh, later on in the show because the producers were like, nope, nope, no, can't have gay people in this,
The one meme,
90s.
Garrick memes are all over, but the one meme I love, it's literally, it's not even a meme, it's a article, a genuine article that someone has just pasted Garrick when he was in the episode where they have to do the heist on the holodeck at Vix,
Yeah.
and Garrick wears a turtleneck. Oh, is that the spy
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
So they paste the image of Garrick in a turtleneck, and it's like, how to wear a turtleneck without constantly being aroused by light choking. No two images have ever suited each other so fucking well than Garrick in a turtleneck and those words.
Well, there's another one where it's when Nana Visitor is playing like the love interest in the holodeck, and it's got Bashir and Garak standing there, and she's just like, "Oh, Mr. Bashir, I love your top," and Garak's like, "I have a name." It's which is a terrible gay joke. But but these things exist in the Trek fan base because it's like there's so many sort of like great like jokes about it and stuff. But obviously, the episode where Garak just is literally doing the little rainbow thing with his hands, where he's like, that is literally any horrendous picture can be improved by just putting Garak at the bottom doing that.
Because I know Peaches and I know Christopher and everyone else is sort of started watching Star Trek thanks to us. If you love Star Trek memes, holy shit, they have just taken on a life of their own in the last 3 years. 2 pages I have to shout out. The Andorian Meming Consortium.
Yeah.
And Data. Just Data.
The problem is, I'm tempted to unfollow Data because I'm so sick of these nuts ones. The Data dying ones. They're just shit. Like, he does all these amazing memes, and then I'm just like, I don't know if the joke is that it's rubbish, but like...
But Alpaca. Alpaca.
Mm-hmm. Pardon?
Alpaca these nuts in your ass. That's,
yeah.
Yeah.
See, if it was that quality, maybe I'd laugh, but it's worse than that. It's the sort of thing of going, I don't understand this. Like, that's not how a knock joke works. Like, all of it.
But the one thing about the Data Facebook page is they do not take shit, and they will just go after the supposed Trekkies who are offended by an image on the internet. So yeah, guys, this was our review of episode 3 of Lower Decks. It was a short episode, and you're like, hang on, it's trekking up north, and you've already been going for an hour and 20 minutes. Are you ill? The episode was 24 minutes long. What do you want us to do?
We've talked about this way too much, I'd say, because last week we talked about a double bill, and it took us 2 hours and 2 and a bit hours.
Lance just said alpaca. That's the line he uses on Lee. I use a lot of things on Lee. Oh, daddy. But guys, that was our review. That was my final review.
For now.
Oh, you couldn't let me have it.
I'm fucked if you
could. I was resigning my commission.
That's it. You haven't become an evil admiral yet. You can't quit yet.
If I'm a badmiral, Lee's a dadmiral.
You haven't endangered people's lives.
If I'm a badmiral, Lee's a dadmiral.
Dadmiral, yeah. Lee's
and we have a dadmiral in Discovery. That's his nickname, official nickname, Dadmiral.
You're off. You're off for the next 2 weeks.
Yes, I'm off to the United States, everybody. So if you watch this show and you're from the United States of the Americas and you see me, please.
He will be in you.
Yes. Transporter accident. Yes, I am. I am going to Las Vegas. As a ginger, it's quite funny. I am also going to San Francisco. I am literally going to where Starfleet headquarters is. I am cycling to Sausalito purely to take a picture of where Starfleet headquarters is. Will I be wearing a uniform? No, I'll die of heat exhaustion. But I will take a badge with me as a celebration.
I think maybe take the uniform with you just in case. But but you might die from heat.
I might die. I might put the TNG uniform on. That is the lightest of the uniforms, I think. But yeah, and then I am in Los Angeles for a week, and I can't wait. I have gone 9 months with only a week off, and holy shit, it is, yeah. Rest, everyone, when you can. That's all I'm going to say. Don't do what I've done. But this is a well-earned bit of shore leave.
What is rest?
Yeah, what is rest? We have been doing this for nearly 9 months. Can you believe that?
It's not like 30 episodes or something. I'm sure someone linked to like a playlist, and I was like, why is there 30 videos? Oh, yeah. Shit. We've done 32 of these.
32 episodes. We have done more episodes of Trekking Up North than there have been of Strange New Worlds.
That's terrifying.
That is terrifying. But
and we still haven't covered Code of Honor.
Yeah, moving on. But no, guys, I will be back. Maybe I will. No, I will be back. Until then, I just want to say, doing this with Synoiz and Nerdy Up North has been an absolute goddamn pleasure. I love each and every one of you. I love Synoiz to bits. He sent me a really sweet message the other day, and that fucker made me cry. And it was, yeah.
Was it the Barbie meme?
That as well, but
no one's gonna
know that.
No, it's the first thing I sent to Goodwill that just has a shocked emotion, like a shocked reaction to it, and I was just like, yes, we found the line, we found the cutoff point for humor.
But it was the day you sent it as well, and I'm just like, this fucker's had this since July. I know he has.
So bad. But yeah,
he's been saving this. But yeah, so I'm on shore leave now. Guys, if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to Nerdy Up North, caress the bell. Just like on Shooting Stars.
Tease it down there, tease it.
Like when you're summering the dove from above. Cool, caress the bell. Cool.
Oh no, it's on the other side. Sorry, I was doing it the wrong way. Caress the bell.
But yeah. Uvavu.
I really want to watch the what's it called? Shooting Stars Falling Down, which is one of my favourite sketches of all time.
Oh my god, I bet that's amazing.
But it's like the Sunderland Independent Film Commission presents Falling Down. It's so good.
If you are not a member of Nerdy Up North, we have got a fantastic Facebook community of nearly 8,800 members. We have got a Facebook page of over 15,000 people. We have been on the BBC more than once and not on the news. We have been featured.
What, for like our crimes?
Yes.
Expected us to be on like
Operation U-Tree has finally caught up. Paul was on BBC Radio Newcastle this week. I believe, was it Tuesday or it was Wednesday he was on. So please look, go find BBC Upload for Radio Newcastle. He was on there talking about the charity stream. We have a Twitch channel. We have a TikTok. We have a Twitter or X or whatever the fucking hell you want to call it. Synoiz, he has got Twitch, he has got the Velvet Snatch, he has got the Girl Podcast. All the descriptions below, all the things below are down there for a reason. I put them down there because not only do I want to promote our friends, I believe you will all enjoy them, especially Clone Star, Trek Culture, and the Shuttle Pod. This were stemmed by the Shuttlepod show. They made me an alcoholic. I love them to bits. God bless you, Mark. But no, I don't have anything else to add, do you, Synoiz?
Yeah, well, I just want to say, like, I'm really sorry, guys, but like my things are really busy and really crazy for me at the minute. So it's the idea of we're not decided yet about whether we're going to be doing an episode next Friday or next Saturday, simply because I don't have the time to set everything up that Goodwill has set up in order to do the stream. So it's a discussion that needs to happen between myself and Paul, who is the god, the cult leader of
The
Nerdy Up
great
North.
koala of
The
Nerdy Up
great
North.
koala. Yeah, and I need to basically go, can you do all of this stuff for me? So that's a discussion that needs to happen, because there was talk about getting doing it between me and General Kirkby, or me and Baron, but it's the idea of next week I am up against the wall time-wise in order to get a project finished, and I'm just like going, oh, I can't do something that's more than just sit down and talk, for like 2 hours. So what we'll do is we will see. So keep up with our socials, keep up with the Discord, and we will let you know. If not, we might miss this week coming, and we might do the week after. But yeah, it's just forgive me. It's just stressy.
We are human. We deserve rest, as I've just said. But people, we do this for the love. We do this for the love, but we have jobs and we are just super, super, super busy. And Synoiz is the hardest working Geesian in the northeast of England that is very underappreciated and deserves all the support.
We were laughing actually, because at the Great North Run, I'm there with Teresa May, who is a very famous drag queen now. Obviously, we go way back, but it's like she's very famous. She's been on the TV multiple times. She's massive in her home country of Spain and whatnot, and she might be on an upcoming drag race show that is coming out soon.
Exclusive.
I'm pretty sure everyone in the world knows about that leak. But or if they don't, fuck it, they don't. Hopefully, they watch this. But yeah, they. And then we had people coming up to me being like, "You're the Velvet Snatch," or like people being like, "We saw you at Lindisfarne, you were amazing," and it was just the strangest thing. And Teresa was just like going, "Wow, okay, this is really weird." It's just because it's usually the other way. Usually people are like ignoring me and being like, "Oh my god, Teresa." It was quite good. And she got called Bag of Chips at one point, which I don't want to ever let her forget, because I take that as an insult, but
wow. But if there is nothing else, Synoiz.
One last thing: if you are a fan of Northeast Drag, if you're a fan of Drag Idol, you will know that I do my companion show of Snatch Talk next Sunday, the 24th, I think it is.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah. Next Sunday, the 24th, they are doing an All-Stars winners event where basically they've gotten as many as they can of the previous winners of the competition to come back and put on a spectacular show at Boulevard in Newcastle. So you can go to dragidol.co.uk and book tickets, and you can get tables, you can get standing and stuff like that to see the show. Obviously, I will be there. I will not be performing because I didn't even get to the fucking final of my year, unlike Chazza, who won it. But yeah, so if you fancy a great night out in Newcastle, and if you want to say hello to me at some point while I'm rushing around trying to interview everyone under the sun, then do that. Anyway, yeah, there we go. That's all my stuff.
Everyone.
Oh, and I'm going to be streaming on Twitch after this.
Everyone give Synoiz love. Do it. Captain's
Let me
orders.
lap it up.
Until next time, my lovelies.
Love.
What is he doing? Okay.
I'm lapping up the love.
Okay, he's lost the plot. Until next time, my lovelies, I will be back on October the 6th. Or will I? Ooh, delicious ambivalence. Until next time, my lovelies, live long and prosper, stay safe, take care of each other. Bye-bye.
Alamare, count 2 4, Alamare, then one more. Miles?
Moopsie.